getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
I'm going to take this as fact. Usually where there's a little smoke, there's some fire from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. This person says it'll be the last time that Ryder comes. In a couple of years, Ryder will be closed. Okay.
Yeah, I wonder why, what that means.
I don't know if it's like the air conditioner's going out, or if the, cafeteria is just, needs to be replaced and they're just going to demolish the whole school and start over. I don't know.
Okay, I was thinking more along the lines of them combining with another school.
Probably so. That'd be more realistic,
the name or something.
More realistic. Maybe consolidating because there are not enough kids in that neighborhood. I don't know.
Which doesn't seem like that would make sense though, right? Because they're a 5A school.
Yeah, maybe somebody's that's wishful thinking there. So a couple of years they'll be closed.
I don't know what that means.
A couple of years will be closed because they won't be playing good football anymore.
It's going to be interesting around here when the two schools, Frenship and Cooper, split.
Yes. Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what classification everybody goes into and all that good stuff.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what the new Frenship name's going to be, right? Or do they know yet? Or do you know and you're sworn to
I do not know.
Secrecy?
I do not know.
The other Lubbock Cooper.
It's not really going to affect me.
They're going to be the Patriots.
It's really not. Oh, is that what they're going to be?
So they can still be LCP.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Lubbock Cooper West or whatever it is, but I mean it's they'll be. I think they're going to be the Patriots.
Oh man, I've heard the name of this that they're going to call the school, but I can't remember what it is now.
Frenship or Cooper?
At Cooper.
There's a.
Oh man, I've heard it. It's not a secret. I just can't remember it now. But I don't think Frenship has gotten that far. I think Cooper's a year or so ahead of.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're
the Friendships.
Yeah, so like you said, you'll be done with high school by the time that's all.
I think Friendship's got to. I mean, they got to name that school. Their mascot's going to be the Lions, right? So they can Lions and Tigers.
I don't know. Like as you well know, every middle school, elementary school, even daycares over there is called Tigers.
Tigers, yeah.
Yeah, and they're blue and yellow. So I mean, it's a real problem.
I mean, it's not going to affect me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I think.
You think you're good? No more children, and you're done.
Well, I meant that I think that my kid will be able to stay at the school she's at and not have an issue. So
okay, and you're not planning on procreating anymore, so that you would have a future problem with that, right?
Kind of a personal question there, Chuck.
Yeah.
That's between him and his wife.
Yeah,
I think.
No, I understand.
Just throwing that out there.
It's not
Liberty.
It's
Liberty.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Liberty. Yeah, how could I forget that?
Yeah. Liberty.
Yeah.
Somebody says this: Wichita Falls building 2 schools and closing 3. New names and new mascots.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
That's unfortunate. Just throw out the history.
I wonder why they're doing this, completely changing the names.
Lubbock Cooper Liberty. I think it's Liberty Cooper because it's going to be LCP at Liberty Cooper Patriots.
So they're going to have 2 mascots. Oh, I guess Liberty's
Liberty
just the name.
Cooper?
Is it Liberty Cooper? Yeah, I think it's Liberty Cooper Patriots.
Liberty Cooper?
Yeah.
Where's Liberty?
That's the name of the school.
I know, but I get why they're called Lubbock Cooper. If you're going to go by Liberty Cooper, where's Liberty?
I don't know.
Is that a town I don't know of?
I thought they were still doing the LCP thing.
Okay, maybe they are.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a big damn deal. We're still going to be LCP.
Okay.
It's like.
So maybe you could. Maybe you don't have to have the name of the city there, right there at the front.
Maybe not.
Like Lubbock, right?
Right. I mean,
Lubbock, Monterey, or Lubbock, Coronado.
It's kind of obvious. I always think it goes back to the old Tyler John Tyler, which is one of my favorite high schools. Tyler John Tyler. Just to say Tyler John Tyler.
They're not there anymore.
Tyler John Tyler's not there anymore?
They're not allowed to use John Tyler's name anymore.
Oh.
They're Tyler High now.
No more John.
No more John Tyler. He
was a bad person?
I guess he was a bad person.
Okay.
So there's no Tyler Lee anymore. That's Tyler Legacy, and there's no more John Tyler.
There's
That's
no more
Tyler
Midland
High
Lee either.
Yes, that is all correct.
Probably wiser for it, but I don't know. Hey, I did not go to this game. There's 2 games since 1993. There's 2 games that I've missed. at Texas Tech. Two games in the last almost 30 years. And the 2 games that I missed are noteworthy. One, an unfortunate noteworthiness, which was the first game of the 93 season. It was Labor Day weekend, and we were out of town, and the horse ran into the wall. So that's probably good that we didn't see that, because we would have had a pretty good view of that from the east side, running into the wall there in the southwest corner of the stadium. And that was bad. The other one that I missed, and I was out of town. I had to go, I was literally out of town, and I know people say this all the time. I was literally out of town on station business in Vegas. And it was my first time to go to Vegas. I'm not a gambler. I don't have anything against it. Just had never been in that position to go, blah, blah, blah. And I remember going to Vegas and checking into the hotel I was at, and there was this guy. I knew something was up, that there was more going on in Vegas when this guy was doing a high wire act from one side of the hotel to the other side of the hotel, and there wasn't anybody watching him. It was like, okay, well, that's pretty cool right there. But then the other stuff that was going on was probably even cooler. So the circus act drew no attention. But I missed the overtime 51-48 game between Texas Tech and North Carolina State. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I remember, I think I flew in that Saturday night, and I think I landed when the game was on the radio, and I thought about going to the game, but the game was over by the time I would have gotten there. But that night, which was September 21st, 2002, so almost 20 years ago, the quarterback matchup was Phillip Rivers versus Cliff Kingsbury. And Tech lost 51-48. A North Carolina State freshman, I think this was his highlight night.
T.A. McClendon.
Five touchdowns.
Yeah, it wasn't about Phillip Rivers and Cliff Kingsbury. It was about T.A. McClendon.
Yeah. Were you at that game?
Dude was a beast. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I watched it on television. But he was a hoss. 32 totes, 150 yards. His previous best was 79 against New Mexico. All of his 10 touchdown runs were from inside the 10. He tied the school's single-game touchdown mark set in 1972. North Carolina State went to 5-0. Texas Tech dropped to 2-2. Red Raiders had 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to tie the game at 45. Yeah, it was a fun game.
Yeah, Robert Treese gets a 33-yard field goal in overtime, but then McClendon it was all McClendon there in overtime. Chuck Amato was the Wolfpack coach. He said to score after all that went on in the fourth quarter after leading 38-10 was amazing. A lot of character on both sides. Here's what Coach Kingsbury, then quarterback Kingsbury, had to say afterwards. He said, "We had our chances. It didn't come down to one play. We made a bunch of mistakes." It sounds like a Cliff Kingsbury quote, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does, and you don't get a touchdown in overtime, and they do, and it just felt like, oh man, those were the days where your offense felt like it could do anything, and you had no confidence ever in your defense. It was one of those days, and it just felt like as soon as you kicked the field goal in overtime, the game was over.
Coach Mike Leach was not happy. He said his team came out flat in the third quarter. When you walk out of a locker room, you need to be at a high level. The way we came out at the start of the third quarter is inexcusable, flat out inexcusable, and it cost us the game. Okay, the horse was 94, but I missed that game. It was this. Mickey Peters had a big catch in that ball game. There's a name from the past. Mm-hmm. Coach Kingsbury had a fumble in that game that led to a touchdown. Sean Price, remember him? Ran it back 35 yards to make it 31-10.
I do not remember him.
Okay, I remember that name. And it was one of those. It was one of those nights you come back, but usually when you've come back, you've won. But that was a night where you came back and didn't win. But that's one that really stuck in the craw.
Big plays and even bigger laughs. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Time for the Stay in Sports History. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to start in 1913, guys, because Cub Larry Cheney hurls a record 14-hit shutout.
Wow.
Against the Giants.
That's pretty impressive.
What do we call that, Jeff?
A shutout.
He did what with 14 hits?
He scattered them.
Scattered. He scattered.
That's awesome.
Lots of scattering. I imagine there were several double plays in this game, and then a hit after a double play kind of concept.
Sure.
What
or
was the,
hits to the left side of the field, so you couldn't advance past second on a single.
What was the old runners in scoring position number for that
I
game?
have no earthly...
Gotta
obviously
be
not
high.
good.
A 0 for something.
0 for something, right?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes you can get a hit with runners in scoring position and still not score somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They get thrown out at the plate, or maybe it was just hit too hard, and so they hold the runner at third, whatever.
Sure.
It happens.
1923, Red Sox first baseman George Burns pulls off an unassisted triple play.
Wow.
I don't know how.
What position again?
First. Figure the line out is one.
Line out, he steps on the bag at first, and all I can guess would be that he runs runs towards
home.
Beats the guy towards second. Beats the guy to second.
Why wouldn't he have just thrown it?
I don't know why he wouldn't have thrown it.
Maybe it was lined out to first. He touches the guy off the bag on first. Then the runner coming home, catcher's not there to cover because the catcher went down to first base, and so he runs home and beats the guy home.
Okay. So the runner at third tagged up and tried to score on a liner to first?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I was thinking like he ran at the runner between second and third. Well, why didn't he just throw? It's not a tag play. It's force play. Just throw it to second.
Mm-hmm.
That's a difficult one.
Today would be a good day to be a New York Yankees fan. Like, in history, it's a good day to be a New York Yankees
If
fan.
they beat the Red Sox, it will be.
Jamie would say it's always a good day to be a Yankee fan, right?
No, I wouldn't.
In 1942...
like the last month, it's not been. It's not been.
That's fair.
In 1942, they clinched their 13th pennant. In 43, they clinched their 14th pennant.
Mm-hmm.
In 53, they clinched their 5th straight pennant with an 8-5 win over the Indians.
And they could have done it again in 2022 if they hadn't sucked for the last month.
And in 1958, they won their 24th pennant and 9th under Casey Stengel on this day. So good day to be a Yankees fan in history.
I guess so. Yeah.
1968, Detroit Tigers Denny McLain gets his 30th victory of the season.
Wow.
Yeah, Denny McLain. That was his highlight.
It'd be a lot of people's highlight.
Tigers were going to win the World Series, and then he would bet that that would never happen again.
1978, Braves Jim Burton at 38 beats the Giants for his first win since 1970, and this game was in 78.
Wow.
1986, after being called up by the Kansas City Royals, Bo Jackson hits his first home run, a 475-foot blast, the longest at Royal Stadium.
You say who they played that night?
No.
Okay.
1994, Major League Baseball team's owners vote to cancel the remainder of the 94 season, as well as the World Series for only the second time in history, continuing labor dispute with the Players Association. Jerks. 1996. A's Mark McGuire is the 13th player to hit 50 home runs in a single season. It is National Cream-Filled Donut Day. Jamie is not a fan.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it.
Anything cream-filled, I'm out.
Okay.
Happy birthday to a former Red Raider.
So Harrell in the shotgun from the 28 to throw. Goes to the right side for Crabtree. It's caught. He breaks. Oh, he's the worst. Touchdown, Red Raiders. Unbelievable. Touchdown, Red Raiders.
Michael Crabtree, 35 today.
Okay. I was going to say, is it Harris or is it Jensen? Or
I can't listen to it and not just think in my mind, I love you, Sonny Cumbie. I just love his reaction. It was so real. So real. Not that John's or Brian's or weren't.
Sonny Cumbie was all of us at that moment.
I mean, Sonny is a head football coach in Division I football.
Right.
Okay. And he was acting like we act.
Right.
Right?
Unreal.
That was awesome. Gosh.
Jimmy
that
Butler
dude just continues to grow in Red Raider lore for me, at least.
Jimmy Butler, 33.
Jimmy Buckets.
Scumbag, allegedly. Deshaun Watson is 27. And Sam Neill is 75.
I think the moment that he pays all the girls, you can stop saying allegedly.
I'm just covering bases here.
Yeah, clearly he did something.
Right.
And in 1814, Francis Scott Key pens a poem, which would later be set to music, and in 1931 becomes the American national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. The poem, originally titled The Defense of Fort McHenry, was written after Key witnessed the Maryland fort being bombarded by the British during the War of 1812. Because he was trying to help a friend get off of a prisoner ship, and the British wouldn't let him leave until after they were done bombing the port. And that is This Day in Sports History.
All right, This Day in Sports History. I have the details on the George Burns unassisted triple play for you. Okay. Okay, so this is 1923, September 14th. He gets, it was the third by modern era baseball rules, and only the fourth in Major League history. The first out was by a first baseman. In the second inning, he caught Frank Brower's line drive, tagged Walt Lutzke off first base, and ran to second base, sliding in before Riggs Stevenson could return from third.
Where in the world were the shortstop and second baseman? Is Mr. Burns just a ball hog?
I don't know.
Throw the ball, dude.
I don't know. Don't have the video of that.
We were shifting and we were playing five outfielders. I mean, what would we do?
Don't have the
How about
ability
just
to tell you that.
to him?
He was the American League MVP in 1926 and a three-time world champion. So there you go.
I mean, he got the out.
Maybe he was stuck in the webbing.
Maybe,
that's a possibility, too.
So.
You got two guys over there you could throw it to.
Well, maybe they weren't there. Maybe they were
lollygagging.
Where I don't know.
They?
Maybe they were lollygagging.
Throw the ball.
Okay. That's a really, really good question, but I don't have the answer for you.
Yeah.
And to this question,
Yeah.
if he throws the balls, it's still unassisted. No. Then it becomes a 3 whatever.
I heard the
triple
second
play.
baseman wrote a book after the next year. Do you know what it was called?
What was it?
Throw me the dang ball.
Oh, okay. Well,
So that's where Keyshawn got the title.
they didn't have Tinkers to Evers to chance, so there would never have been a triple play unassisted by the first baseman.
No, because they were those were teammates that used each other, unlike Mr. Burns apparently.
Right.
I'm just gonna run it over there. Maybe he thought it was kickball.
There you go. Let's see.
Well, then you can throw it at the runner. That would have been unassisted as well if you threw it at him.
Yeah. Mike Trout's consecutive game streak of hitting a home run ends at 7. That's one shy of the Major League record. Do you know who he was chasing? There's a tie of 8 straight.
Mattingly?
Mattingly is one in 1987.
And Dale Long?
Dale Long is the other one.
I remember that from Mattingly's streak. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know who is the other one? There's one more.
It's a recent guy, I thought.
Well,
no?
It's 1993.
Okay.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, it was in Seattle. That's why. It takes them a while to get the news out of Seattle.
Okay. We didn't have the internet in 93.
Right. It just takes a little time to get it out of there. Those West Coast games really kind of overshadow those
We did have a much better
accomplishments.
sports center in 93, though, than we do now.
Yeah.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank. And the Benchmark Hotline is open as well. Texas Tech and North Carolina State on Saturday. Optimum Game Day Live coverage presented by United Supermarkets begins at 2 p.m. We'll have the kick at 7, and then after the game, from here in the First United Bank Double T 97.3 studio, we'll have the Double T 97.3 Coors Light post-game show with Garrett Luft. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So,
Gee, Lefty.
Lefty, yeah. He's been spot on first 2 games.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been real good with his analysis.
Spot on?
Yeah, he's real good with his analysis, breakdown. Mm-hmm. Watches the game clearly.
Because there's games where he hasn't.
No, I'm just saying that he's. I'm just giving.
Well, if he watched the Sunday night or Thursday night game, he didn't watch it clearly.
I was just trying to pay a compliment.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, I mean it was.
Just said that it was.
Mine was a joke at the NFL games.
Yeah, right. No, I got you.
You just kind of made it sound like that he hasn't in the past with that.
Yes,
2 games.
that's kind of how I took it. That's kind of how I took it.
I didn't mean that at all. I didn't mean that at all. Mm-hmm. I did kind of look up a text. His big court date's coming up, September the 28th, for his speeding ticket.
Ooh, that's like literally around the corner.
2 weeks away. There's a part of me that would love to be in the gallery for that.
No. I don't like seeing things end badly for friends.
Presents his case.
So make it happen.
Against his speeding ticket.
So make it happen.
Yeah. Maybe I could be his attorney. Represent him.
Yeah.
Speak on his behalf.
Woo.
Would that would probably not.
That would be good.
That wouldn't. I don't know that
now,
would go well.
I want to go now. Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, that could be entertaining, right? Could be entertaining.
Yes. Grab a new and a bag of popcorn, and I'll be there, chomping away at the back of the courtroom.
You just kind of be like, this is going to be interesting. I wonder if he would.
I wonder which one of them's going to end up in jail, Garrett or Chuck, over a speeding ticket.
I wonder if he would take my legal services, my speaking skills on his behalf. I mean, I could wear a good-looking suit, and I could speak eloquently on his behalf. Promise that he would never do that again.
Am I the only one envisioning Chuck doing a Perry Mason impersonation?
Yeah. Where is the gun?
I was just liking the speaking eloquently part.
You're waiting for that, aren't you?
When do we start doing that?
When do we start doing that?
The three of us.
I was waiting for that too. I set you up and you hit it over the wall.
You can't go shake the judge's hand though, right?
Right.
That'd be hard for you.
Right. All right. Let's get some thoughts from Coach Joey McGuire. He was asked about this, and just a note on this, and Jeff reminds me of this, that right before they were supposed to play the Holiday Bowl, UCLA dropped out of their game against North Carolina State. I mean, like just hours before that game was supposed to kick off, and so that game was then canceled.
And you remember NC State's baseball team basically got kicked out of the College World Series as well because of COVID. Right. Yeah, and there have been some postseason frustration for those folks.
Nightmares, right, for them. So Coach McGuire was asked how much he has watched North Carolina State so far.
Well, they have the all-access deal on ESPN, so I've watched a lot of them and have heard them talk. And, they kind of have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, if you go back to last year, what happened to them in the bowl game was ridiculous. I mean, that should not happen. That was bad on the other team's part that even got to that. And so they had an opportunity to, I believe, have a 10-win season, and that means a lot. It's going to mean a lot around here. And so I know they have a chip on their shoulder, and not only they have a chip on their shoulder, but they have a lot of people back that have chips on their shoulder. And so it's a vet group. He's got a lot of leadership. He's got a lot of NFL guys, and there's a lot of guys on that team that are going to be playing on Sundays. And then I just think he does a good job. He's been there. He's established his culture. He's got a good coaching staff, and they're excited. They have one of the longest home winning streaks, I believe, in the country. I could be wrong about that. I know they haven't lost a lot of games at home. And so they're going to be ready to go. And I think with us being 2-0, it probably adds to the excitement of the game. And I know that we both respect each other and respect how our teams are going to play. So it's going to be a dogfight.
Going to be a dogfight.
Do you think he was making a point? I may be totally misreading this. Kind of making a comment that he wanted people to hear about. I've seen a lot of them because they're on ESPN All Access.
Oh, no. Do you mean
like he's saying, I don't know if that's the smartest thing for them to do.
I didn't get that impression just sitting there when he said that.
Yeah.
I got the impression he's just a guy that watches a lot of football.
Yeah, that's just not a game. That's like a show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've not seen it. But.
Yeah, it's similar to what they do in the NFL on HBO, whatever, I think. And I just wondered. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wondered, was he saying, "Oh, I get to see a lot of them. We get a little bit of an advantage because we get to see that side of them." I don't know. I don't have any idea.
I didn't get that impression sitting there when he was saying that. I got the impression of, "Hey, I've watched a lot of them because of this." Not that, "Hey, this is bad" or "this is good," or that he wasn't. I thought when you said making a point, I thought you were talking about the UCLA situation with them backing out. That was bad, and making a point there.
I definitely think he was making a point there.
Yeah.
I don't think that was hidden.
Yeah.
It does matter to say, hey, we had a 10-win season.
Right, and as a result, they didn't have a 10-win season last year.
Didn't have the opportunity to get that win. Right. So 10 wins feels different than 9, no question.
So they do enter this game with an 11-game winning streak, North Carolina State, at Carter Finley Stadium. That is the 5th best active home win streak in the FBS, second longest in the history of Carter Finley Stadium, which opened in 1966. Okay, so that stadium seats 56,919. Okay, so it's a little bit smaller than our place. All right, one other thing from Coach McGuire. He says this. He was asked about their defense and Tony Gibson, who was the defensive coordinator at West Virginia when West Virginia teams went up against Texas Tech and Patrick Mahomes, and the type of defense he had. And he wanted to know, this person, has Tony Gibson's success versus how that affects this game with Texas Tech.
Well, they're going to close the middle of the field, and so they're going to take a lot of the middle of the field away from you, and they're going to close it every play, and then they're going to pressure you. And the thing that they do such a great job is they're going to show you one thing, and they're going to disguise it, and they're going to bring pressure from everywhere. And he's one of the godfathers of that defense, and he does a good job. And I think. I really do think with Zach having experience, playing that we'll have a good plan. And then, I think our guys, it's a little bit different because it's more pressure oriented, but they saw it every day last year as far as the structure of the odd stack. And so, I think that's going to give them some comfort, but, we're going to have to play well. We're going to have to, our running backs, our tight ends are going to have to do a good job of knowing where the pressure's coming from, and then the offensive line's going to have to do a good job. It's going to help. We're going to have to be able to run the football some, whether it's the quarterback or the running backs, to kind of take some of that pressure off.
And one of the things, and we'll try to hear from Coach Deruyter this morning at some point in time, but one of the things Coach Tim Deruyter said, the defensive coordinator, he said that North Carolina State will either drop 8 or rush 8. That there's not a lot. There's a lot of negative plays, a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and that can change the timing on the quarterback. Because he was asked about their defense.
Yep.
So
and Houston definitely changed the timing of the quarterback this weekend.
So that's something to kind of keep in mind. In addition to the fact that he said we're going to have to run the ball some. Also, Dave Doran and Coach McGuire talked about this. Is a defensive-minded coach. So he's a defensive coach. So know that going into this ballgame. That's where his mindset came from.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Time for your question of the day. You've already asked me one, so I hope you didn't burn a good one already.
I've got two more for you today.
Okay, two more. Okay, wow.
All right, today's question of the day. Mm-hmm. I want you to do a little ranking for me, Chuck.
Okay.
All right, and Jeff, and our fine listening audience.
Mm-hmm. Fine listening audience.
Who are the top Who are the top three teams in the Big 12 Conference right now? Rank them in order for me. What you've seen after two games.
Top three teams in the Big 12 Conference right now. I have not seen them play, but I'm just going to say Oklahoma because I think they're really talented. Is number one. Okay. I'm trying to think if I want to put Texas at number two or not because, was that Alabama playing down to them or was that Texas playing really, really good?
I assume both.
Yeah. I'm going to go Oklahoma State, and Texas.
I think I've got the same three, but I think I'm flipping Oklahoma State and Texas. I don't feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm way out here on a limb. I got OSU at the top.
Okay.
I think that the game against Central Michigan was not nearly as close as the final score showed.
I would agree with that.
I mean, they were playing third and fourth stringers, and
sure,
they put up a bunch of points at the end of that game. They were blowing them out. Okay. So I thought that was a really good performance, and then it looked like there was never a doubt against a Power 5 school in Arizona State this past weekend. Okay. I just haven't seen enough of Oklahoma to put them at the top as far as, I mean, I've seen the highlights and all that. I haven't watched their game, but they haven't played anybody even remotely good. Okay. And so I'm giving Oklahoma State credit for playing a tougher schedule so far.
Okay.
So far.
I can buy into that.
Okay. And third on my list, I think I think the Longhorns were impressive last weekend. I don't think there's any doubt, and I agree with what you're saying that probably Alabama played that down to them a little bit. But I thought the way Kansas State handled Missouri was impressive as well. Yeah. So I got Kansas State as third on my list. I feel like they've been better than I thought they were going to be. Mm-hmm. And I thought, again, Missouri's not great. I get it. But Kansas State made them look not great.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
I think that's
fair.
A
SEC school, so that's something to be said for that. So that's kind of where I sit at this point.
Okay, I mean, I could buy into what you're saying there. The other thing that was impressive from just a Kansas State logistics standpoint was that game was delayed a number of times. So you have to have some discipline and some ability to come back out and get yourself, mentally prepared to play again and or to keep playing. And so I think there's something to be said with that. Okay,
so let me spawn off of that one to another question.
All right.
We just talked about Kansas State and their win over Missouri. Who's got the best win in the conference so far this year?
Man, can I say KU over West Virginia?
You can. I think it deserves to be in the conversation.
And I think the fact that they're playing on the road, they got down early, they came back, and then they held them off in overtime. I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, the previous 800 coaches didn't win any games on the road in the Big 12, and this guy's won two, last year at Texas and now at West Virginia.
The only question is how bad is West Virginia?
That is a fair question.
Yeah,
and that is a fair question.
Okay,
but I mean,
Jeff,
Baylor over BYU.
Baylor lost.
They did lose. What am I thinking? Okay, BYU over Baylor. There's a Big 12 win.
Yeah. No, that would probably have been it.
That would have been it. Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
You may have to agree with me.
I may have to go Kansas State has the best one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let me throw one at you.
All right.
Who's got to win over a ranked team?
Didn't look good doing it, though.
Texas Tech does.
Yeah, didn't look good doing it, though.
Is Texas Tech's win over a ranked Houston team?
That's fair.
Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, is Houston better than West Virginia? I get that Texas Tech was at home. Kansas was on the road. I mean, again, Kansas State, I feel like that win over Missouri. They didn't just beat Missouri. They beat them bad.
They pulverized them.
Yeah, they beat them bad. Okay.
We might find out a little bit more about Houston and Kansas this week when KU plays at Houston.
Well, we sure will then. Yeah.
We'll find out a little bit more about each one of those teams.
So, that's interesting. As a Red Raider fan, who am I rooting for?
I'm rooting for Kansas.
Well, we know who you're rooting for.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to rock it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I
just wondered why there was a debate in your mind.
I'm rooting for Houston. I'm sorry. I want this win to be validated for the Red Raiders. Okay, so my point of asking that second question is...
Do you have a third?
No.
Okay.
Well, this is more like the struggles in my mind.
Okay.
Okay? If we can get a different feature that you want to sponsor that's the struggles in Jamie's mind, it would be a good time for it.
I probably could sell that.
Okay. Oh, God.
Struggles of Jamie's mind. Brought to you by...
Okay, so I was pretty Monday morning. I mean, I think I hope I portrayed that I didn't know what to think of Saturday because there was a lot that I loved. Mm-hmm. But then I was really disappointed about the way your offensive line played and your offense overall. That just didn't look clean and didn't look great. But thrilled about the defense and thrilled about, I mentioned those three guys that all had struggled during the game that all found ways to come back and make big plays and were a huge part of you winning that game. So I guess I'm asking the question, if that win is in the conversation as one of the best wins in the Big 12 Conference this year.
What does that say about the conference?
Well, my question is, shouldn't I think better about that game?
Yeah, I think you should think better about that game because I walked out of that game feeling pretty damn good. Just having been there.
I surely don't feel bad about it, but it just like I project forward and I'm like, man, if your offensive line's not better, how are you going to win in the Big 12 Conference?
The way that game went for me on Saturday, there were times we had no business losing that game, and kind of at the end, I felt like we had no business winning that game. The way it really felt like you snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, but you also put the victory in the jaws of defeat.
Yes, absolutely.
Wholehandedly.
If you had lost that game 20-17, it was because you beat yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it was because
the interception late. Yep.
Yes, you beat yourself.
Yep.
Okay, I don't mean to not give Houston any credit, but you beat yourself. Okay, and
did a really good job of it.
Specifically on offense, your offense, kind of lost it for you.
Sputtered at times. Yeah. The interceptions, obviously.
But I mean, again, I continue to love the way.
I love the
guys bounced back and love the way on 4th and 20 you're still competing and finding a way.
Yeah.
And
but I don't
your
like
kicker
that you got
can
to
suck up a bad day and drill it when we really needed him and all of that. I love all that. So I'm just like, again, torn in Jamie's mind.
Yeah.
If I'm considering that to be one of the best wins in the Big 12 Conference this year, shouldn't I feel better about that win?
Yeah, see, and I think the perspective for me is I felt great about that win because I'd predicted a loss. And I thought, despite everything that you did, you found a way to win.
I thought we'd look better in beating them.
Okay.
I thought we would control that game, and I thought it would be decently close, but I thought the Red Raiders would look better in beating them. But, again, maybe that defensive front is really, really good. Maybe Sack Avenue, is like a four-way lane highway.
Those guys are really good.
Maybe it's really good. I don't know.
6 sacks. Forced 3 interceptions.
Well, is that on them or is that on us?
I understand. No, I get it. Tomato.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. The Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
Not always accurate, not always fair. Just try to be entertaining.
The key word there was try.
We have our moments That's for doggone sure. 8:16 this morning on the morning drive. Nice to have you with us this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. We will have High School Fan Zone tonight on 100.7 The Score. Coaches from Frenship and Lubbock Cooper. Those two teams will be in action, not against each other. They've already played. Frenship plays Abilene. We'll have it at 6:30 from Abilene, and then Lubbock Cooper entertains Wichita Falls Ryder. We'll also have the Astros and the Detroit Tigers today, 11:40 the broadcast time, just after high noon. First pitch for the first place Houston Astros. Think they're going to win the American League Championship? I know you hope not.
I do.
Okay.
They look cut above the rest.
Yeah, they really do. Mm-hmm. And likely the Dodgers?
Yep, that'd be what I'd lean towards.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll have that for you today for a little day baseball. Rangers play tonight against the Swingin' A's of Oakland, 6:30 the broadcast time on Double T 97.3. All right. A's will stay in Tejas, and they'll go down to Houston mañana, probably after the ball game tonight. Take on the Houstonians Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon.
Just got bilingual right here, just
right,
like that.
It's just that's me, man.
Wow.
Highly,
impressive.
All right, Texas Tech and North Carolina State on Saturday night. The Red Raiders have won a game in this series. Okay, it occurred. I give you the specific year. 1952. Texas Tech won 54-7. Okay. Other than that, it's been pretty much all Wolfpack. They've won the last 4. Okay. Including the last time they played at Carter Finley Stadium there in Raleigh in 2003. I know that Coach McGuire likes to take the boys to go to a movie. I didn't know if maybe they would go to Mayberry while they were down in North Carolina, kind of see the fictional town where Opie and Andy Taylor and Barney Fife hung out.
I bet the players would love that. I mean, I'm sure all of them huge fans.
Well, I think that'd be kind of cool to take a little field trip from time to time.
How many of those players do you think have ever heard of Mayberry?
Well, I don't know. I wonder if Coach McGuire has. I mean, he's a younger man than me. Probably has, but I bet you many of his coaches probably haven't. They're like, "Who is this? What is this Mayberry that you speak of?" Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They could whistle.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that's probably not what the plan is.
Probably not what the plan is. Okay. So don't have to worry about getting tickets in advance to the fictional town of
Mayberry.
To Mayberry.
You
go over to Mount Pilot. They've got a pretty good diner over there in Mount Pilot. They could take the fellas there to Mount Pilot for some,
So does Mayberry exist or not?
It's a fictional town. It truly is a fictional town. There is a town that's like Mayberry, but there is no Mayberry, North Carolina. Okay. Even though that's where Otis the drunk hung out, and that's where Gomer Pyle's from too. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't wait to tell the guy next to me at the game watching party on Saturday.
I can't remember. Jeff can help me with this, maybe. The guy that saw the freaky monster in the lake, was his name Fester, or was I can't remember his name.
Loch Ness?
It was like a Loch Ness. You know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I have seen several dozen episodes. I wasn't just a giant fan of the Andy Griffith Show. Okay. I didn't hate it. It just it wasn't one of the ones that I watched on repeat.
No, I got it. I mean, it was a 60s show. So it was done in 1968, but then it went on and on and on forever and a day. It's kind of important, but it's not important who this guy was.
Okay.
It's not important for what we're doing right now. Probably not important. But Gomer Pyle was from Mayberry.
That's from Mayberry.
He was from Mayberry.
Mayberry, North Carolina.
Yeah. All right. Here
it's
is
beautiful this time of year.
Speaking of Houston, all right, defensive coordinator Tim Deruyter was asked about this the other day, talking about his defense and holding the University of Houston to 6 points when the drive started inside the 25-yard line, because I do think that was impressive.
Well, I'm proud of them, but that's something we preach to them all the time. Anytime we go on the field, our job is to either get the ball back in a takeaway or make them kick. And, you know, a lot of times I think a lot of defenses, when they have a short field, the natural human tendency is to, oh man, someone screwed us. You know, we gave up a long punt return, or you know, our offense turned the ball over. And it's not like that with us. You know, we've got our guys thinking that, hey, we got an opportunity to seize the momentum back. And when you can make people kick or take the ball away, that deflates the offensive momentum, and that's what our guys thrive on. You know, we talk about it all the time. Hey, we're the firemen. There's a fire right now. We're putting the fire out, and we're taking that momentum back.
We're the firemen. We're going to put the fire out. But I do like the fact that when their back was against the wall, they bucked up. Because if they get 7 out of those two things, game over. Mm-hmm. You're not winning that game at all. He also talked about getting the first 2 turnovers of the season in the ball game on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I was happy about those. The first one, Krishan's, we talk about all the time the 4 P's of takeaways. And one of those P's is preparedness, where we know what the offense is doing and what we do so we can play fast, and then physicality and purpose. And he didn't just go make a tackle to make a tackle. His purpose was to get the ball out. And you can see that purpose as he's tackling, going after the football, and then the population of getting guys to the football. And we've got to do a better job than that. Rabbit obviously was running the ball. He was there, to get the fumble recovery. But we've got to get 11 guys doing that, and we're not quite there yet. And we talked about that yesterday in our, team meeting, that, that was not acceptable for some of these guys, and it was an uncomfortable meeting for some of them. But our guys know what our standards are here, and for us to be a championship level defense, we got to get everybody chasing the ball like that. The second takeaway, it was a great job by Rabbit, in the post reading the safety, but really was caused by the pressure that we put on Tune. He threw it before he wanted to, and to me, that's why those things are called takeaways in our mind. We are forcing the offense into a situation as opposed to, hey, we're going to wait for them to throw it to us on turnover. We need to force the issue.
I love it's going to be an uncomfortable meeting for some of those guys. Translation, we're not satisfied, right?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, especially in the area that he's talking about, we're getting everybody to run to the ball, in a situation where you're trying to force turnovers. I agree with what he says about the takeaway thing. Sometimes you just look at it and say, when you throw an interception and you're like, we beat ourselves there. Well, their defensive end is beating his man off the edge and forcing you out of the pocket, and you're having to throw the ball quickly to avoid a sack, and that leads to a turnover. Well, that was a play made by the defense. That wasn't just the offense giving it away. And that's what he's talking about with takeaways. So I'm guessing that Coach Deruyter's talks with his hands a lot.
He does. He bangs the table a lot. Yeah. He does.
Especially when he's making some points. Like, no, we're going to do this. Yeah.
He's a hand talker.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't know if I'm going to point out that he gave us the 4 Ps, and he gave us 5: preparedness, play fast, physicality, purpose, and population of guys to the football. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he said 4 Ps, so I don't know if play fast is one of his 4 Ps. I think it's preparedness, physicality, purpose, and population of guys to the football. I really like that last one. We need, population of guys to the football. In other words, all of you get to it, right?
Kind of the defensive mindset there, yes.
It's 5 Ps, kind of like, dodge, duck, dip, dive.
He gave us more than advertised, Chuck.
Right.
Don't complain. You got a bonus. You got a bonus P.
You know what you got there? You got a little, what's it called? BOGO. You got a BOGO there.
Buy one, get one free. You had to buy 4.
Yeah, buy 4 to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, you bought 4 and you got one free.
Go?
Yeah,
that doesn't
go.
work.
Anyway, I like his detail and his energy, and he would be better with a podium than a table, probably. But there you go. It all works, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.